You're listening to Tabletop Arcanum, a podcast dedicated to learning and exploring the hobby of tabletop gaming. Your hosts are Justin Taylor and Richard Giese, so sit back and relax as we talk, discuss, and joke our way through the hobby we love so much.
Cat Tower is a stacking game featuring papercraft cats. Each turn, you roll the die and stack cats from your hand based on the results. Be careful. If any cats fall, you take them back. The first player to stack all of their cats wins.
Welcome to Tabletop Arcanum. This is Justin.
And Mindy.
And today we're bringing you a review of Cat Tower by Renegade Games, designed by Issac. This is a 6-up, 2 to 6 players, plays in 15 to 20 minutes. MSRP on this one is $20. Mindy, why don't you give us your first impressions of Cat Tower?
First impressions of Cat Tower? I had to have it. It has a cat on the front. It has a big cat face. I love cats, so that's the whole reason why. It's just the cat face. But I think the box is so cute, with especially the oversized cat eyes and face on the front, but then also once you open the box that it can be turned into a little cat standing. And then overall I think the artwork is really good, just on cat drawings, and I think that's really kind of fun. So overall my first impressions were really good. How about yours?
My first impressions is my wife is in fact a crazy cat lady who needs to have the cat game.
Yes, of course.
So we got the cat game. Like you said, the box is actually probably one of the most engaging things about it because it's something different. Bright orange tiger striped cat. The box has little ears, and like you said, once you actually fully open the box, it can transform into like a standing cat on your table. The other fun thing about it is it's a dexterity-based game about stacking cats. So like my first impression was like, all right, let's do this. Let's stack cats. What sort of gameplay are we going to have with this? Because Jenga is relatively simple, so is this going to be reverse Jenga, or is this going to be something a little bit different? So I was intrigued in general from it. It also has a very small box, which is always a fun thing to have because of space and storage and all that fun stuff. Let's talk a little bit about the game itself. So they're thick cardboard-esque, like cardstock cards, which are cats, that you fold.
Yes.
And they have full art, so the top of the card is the top of the cat with the face and the tail and the legs. And the underside is the belly with
the legs and
legs and their butt.
And the butthole.
Which, if you're going to have a full-size art cat from top view and bottom view, you're going to get the full picture. So I guess it's better than nothing.
Yes.
Luckily, most of the time you're not seeing that, unlike owning a real cat.
It's very true.
So the gameplay is relatively simple because you have 7 cards or cats in your hand at the start of the game, and you're trying to get rid of them all. Either by giving them to other players to stack on the tower, or stacking them on the tower yourself, and trying not to get a penalty by knocking over something. And it's all powered by a die, which will tell you what you're doing that turn, whether you're stacking 1 cat, 2 cats, giving a cat to someone else to stack, placing a fat cat oversized card, or
a belly cat, so it's upside down.
Right. So your gameplay is dictated by this die roll, which gives it the nice variety that Jenga doesn't have. When Jenga, all it does is pull a brick.
Right.
Hope you didn't screw it up. So why don't you tell us some of the good things about Cat Tower?
The good things about Cat Tower, one is the artwork is pretty amazing for the different kinds of cats. Obviously, we found a few that look like our cats, so I'm always impressed with that. I think the other good things are it was actually relatively easy to, get it out of the box and set up. You got a dice, but we put the stickers on the dice, so kind of nice, kind of put it together how we wanted to. And the cats, I think it was good. It's just the actual getting them to fold was the hard part. And once we realized we actually had to crack them, it's a little sad. I don't want to crack cats, but I definitely understand where that makes the gameplay better when they actually stand how they're supposed to be standing. I think as a tower building game, I think it's great. And I think that also the fact that they give you different options, so you can do the regular play or you can do like a one-on-one type of play is great. So I think those are all really great things. What are your feelings on it?
The things that Cat Tower does well is it keeps a dexterity game lively with light rules and not much else to it. So your primary thing is you're going to be stacking cats. So what are you doing on most of your turns? You're stacking cats. The cards themselves are sturdy. I think they're going to hold up for quite a bit of stacking and falling and tumbling. Even after you have them initially folded, which is kind of one of the first things you need to do when you open the game before you can even play it, the box can support storing all of that was a big plus. I was kind of concerned, like, how flat pack is that box if we're going to be bending cards and moving things around? Can it still hold everything? And it does, and it does it very well. The different ways you can stack a cat is also entertaining. Just, it keeps this tense but light attitude throughout a game. So while, yeah, it's tense that you're going to knock over a tower and take cats and not possibly win because you're taking too many cats into your hand, but it's cats, and it's fun, and it's cute, and even people who don't necessarily like cats can still get behind something like this. This may not be their number one favorite game, but the gameplay itself is what is engaging and fun to me with a cat theme on top of it. This could have been stacking anything with those same mechanics, and it would have been fun and interesting. So, Mindy, what were the opportunities in this game?
For me, stacking cats. But I'm not very good at dexterity games, so that's kind of my one thing. I think maybe once the cards are played a little bit more and stuff like that, it might work out better for actually stacking the cats. Because since it's still a newer game, they kind of slide or they kind of aren't standing completely well. So I think that is one of the areas I could probably do a little bit better. Maybe just pre-done cat cards that are already in the correct position that they need to be a little bit more sturdy for a game. But I definitely think it adds a little bit to the actual stacking ability if they aren't completely rectangle like they need to be. But I think that is something that could do better. And I think some of what exactly like you're doing with the die could be a little bit better. You know, you get a fish, what does that mean? Just kind of some of the stuff you kind of have to remember, where they could have probably just drawn like a cat on its back with its legs up or something, you know. But I guess I could see how that could be the other way too. So those are some of the things I think they could do better. What are some things that you think they could improve upon?
You kind of touch on it. The rule sheet is really just that. It's a very light rule sheet. There's a couple clarifications that could have been a little bit nicer of when a tower is knocked over. What is the exact penalty was a little vague. The back of the box, even describes like, oh, if you knock the tower over, you get all the cats. But you really don't get all the cats. You only get the cat you're trying to place that turn and 1 or 2 penalty cats, and that's it. So you can knock over a tower of 8, and you're only going to maximum get 3 cats back. That was one of those rules that we had to reread, and go over, which was a little frustrating in the sense of, like, we should be able to figure out a simple game like this, but this just doesn't have quite the right information we were looking for. Like you said, a little, when we were playing with others, to have to, okay, this is what the fish means, and then the fish came up a little while later, and it's like, okay, this is what the fish means again. So having some more universally understood symbol of what you're doing with the die on the die would help. After a few games, that's going to kind of disappear, but when you bust this out 6 months, a year later again, maybe you'll forget and have to go through that rule sheet again. I think one of the other opportunities is explaining what a folded cat should look like versus a bended cat. We bent the cards, but then not necessarily snapped the back of them enough, so they were just kind of floppy tents stacking on floppy tents opposed to actually standing on each other. And that was kind of one of our challenges early on, is to realize, no, they need to be folded more. Yes, it's going to sound like you're breaking the card, but that's kind of what you need to do to get it in the position that you need to do. So either A, clarifying that that's exactly what you need to do with your cards. Yes, it's going to feel like you're breaking the game, but that's okay. Or have cards in such a way where you're not going to necessarily snap them into place, but they have a better fold line to where a 90-degree fold is a lot easier without breaking the card. So Cat Tower MSRP is $20. Where do you sit that this game is at that $20 mark?
I'm a crazy cat lady. I think that's a great price for it, so I think it's wonderful for what you're getting and just the funness of it. I think it's a really good price for that and for the artwork. So I think that's really good. How about for you?
I think it sits at the right price range. It's a small box game, so you don't want a heavy price tag on it. $20 is kind of on that higher of the low end price range, but at the same time, the components inside are thick cards with full art that are all ready to go, a big die, and tokens that are like a nice heavy laminated token. So like the components are actually pretty quality for a $20 game, where they could have cheaped on that, and then all of a sudden your $20 game doesn't last very long because you've already folded it and you're playing with the folded cards, and then they're not holding up very long. Even after repeated plays, I don't feel the cards, even folded, are damaging themselves further. It's just the nature of what it is. Mm-hmm. Who would you recommend Cat Tower for?
Anybody who is really good at dexterity games, which is not me, but, if you're good at Jenga or you want to get better at stacking items and stuff like that, definitely for those type of people. And I would say anybody who definitely likes cats, is a crazy cat person, which is me. So that's kind of why we ended up with it, but I am not good at stacking, but I still love the game. So those are the people I would recommend them for. And people that want just a light, fun game, or maybe even just, there's the option rule for trying to kind of beat each other at stacking cards or stacking cats. So somebody who maybe is a little bit competitive, but with dexterity stacking ability. Who would you recommend Cat Tower for?
You kind of hit the right ones. If you are a cat person, this game will appeal to you as the cute, fun cat, cute thing. The game will also appeal to people who like the dexterity games. If you're looking for something a little bit light and cute, this is definitely a game for you. If you are not good with your coordination, this is not a fun game for you. But at the same time, when we play it with people who thought we're stacking things, I don't know about this. After playing it, everybody was still having a good time because you're laughing, you're joking, you're stacking cats. At one point, I think someone had said, all the cats are facing me, and all I'm seeing is these sad, big cat eyes as we're stacking them. And we all just had a good laugh about it. So it's one of those, it's a game to have a good, fun, lighthearted time. That not all games are big, dark, heavy, serious, fate of the world sort of thing. This is your fun, cute, enjoyable game that adults can enjoy, kids can enjoy, families can enjoy. So, that is our review of Cat Tower by Renegade Games. Again, MSRP is $20 on this one, and you've been listening to Tabletop Arcanum. This is Justin.
And Mindy.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagrams, Twitter, as well as Twitch and YouTube. Like, subscribe, give those notifications a hit so that you can tell yourself when all those items come up. As always, thanks for listening, and happy gaming.
Happy gaming!
You've been listening to Tabletop Arcanum, hosted by Justin Taylor and Richard Giese, and featuring the original music by Paul Moore and Issac Gilbert. You can follow us on most social media platforms. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. As always, thanks for listening.